My dear mother-in-law, we're now in the region of Judea and across from Jordan, and as usual we are followed by a crowd of people. Jesus had been doing some teaching when some Pharisees stepped forward. The religious leaders seem to have been doing their best to catch Jesus out, and although I groaned inwardly, I must admit part of me enjoys seeing how Jesus gets the better of them. Today they asked, is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife? Well, even I know the answer to that is yes. I knew that when I married your daughter. I could have divorced her if I'd wanted to for any reason. Not that I ever would have. It made me think the reasons I'd heard of for divorce. I could divorce my wife if she spoilt my dinner by adding too much salt or even burnt it. If she went into public with her head uncovered, talked with men in the streets, or maybe even if I'd found someone more attractive. And then all I would have had to do was present her with a certificate of divorce in the presence of two witnesses. Then she would have had to leave. As I was thinking this, I turned back to what Jesus was saying. He asked the Pharisees what Moses had said about divorce. Their response that Moses permitted a man to write a certificate of divorce and send her away was the one I had expected. Jesus went on to talk about how marriage was God's idea and that in it the two would become one. It would, I suppose, be like two different colours of clay being rolled together in a ball. As they mix together, then the ball will be made up of the streaks of the two colours. I suppose in divorce you are trying to separate the two colours, which would be difficult as bits of one colour would stick to the other. So in divorce, your life would always have some of the previous relationship as part of it. Later, when we asked Jesus about divorce, he talked about remarriage after divorce would be like committing adultery. Maybe then divorce is too easy and we don't think about the consequences. I realised that if a man divorces a woman, she has to leave her husband's house. She's nowhere to go. She would have to leave her children and would probably be unwelcomed back in her family home. What a life for a divorced woman. No money, no home, an outcast. I've just accepted that women are owned by men and traded between a father and a husband with no rights of their own. Maybe that is why Jesus wants us to think more carefully. So when what Jesus said about not only if a man remarries, he commits adultery, but if a woman divorces her husband and marries another man, she commits adultery, Jesus was actually saying that a woman has a right to divorce her husband. Wow! Suggesting that a woman could make decisions and have choices. Unthinkable. Or is it? Jesus keeps challenging what we've presumed is how God wants us to live and how society should operate. He values children, thinks women can make decisions and take on responsibility for them and transform the lives of those who are outcasts. Clearly, God's ideal is not divorce, but as Jesus shows, God does not want people to suffer either. I need to think more about the place of women in our society. Do you think? Maybe you can tell me what you think when I'm next home. I hope that will be soon. Love, Peter.